scrolling through a Snapchat today. Had a memory 6 years ago. I mean, first things first, 6 years for Snapchat memories.
So long.
That's a long. That's a throwback and a half. But what I saw in the story was a picture of me and my brother with the hibachi chef out of Benihana. With me wearing the hibachi chef's chef hat.
Yeah, you do like to do that.
Yeah, and it takes me back to the time where, if you guys go digging, you could probably find my old Twitter. Where
Yeah.
on that, I was a young tot, probably like fourth grade, and I had the Benihana hat selfie with the chef. So, that's just kind of my thing when I go to Benihana like once every 4 years, because you couldn't even pay me to go to Benihana anymore. Like, no, sir, we are not going to Benihana. But on the times that I do go, and I'm in a scenario where I do go, I have to find a way to get the chef to let me wear his hat. And so,
And it's not like one of those hats that they just give you at the door. Like it's literally the hat off.
No, I'm talking like the legitimate hat that they flip the shrimp tails in. Like I'm talking that hat. To get the hat, you gotta be gassing the guy up when they do the fire volcano. Like you gotta be going wild when they do the steam volcano and the light show and shit. Like you gotta go crazy for the laser show. And I do it every time. Even if they mess up, I let them know, hey, keep your head down, keep going forward, keep moving. All right. Don't give up. All right. That's the last thing I want to see my chef give up. So, well, back to that 6 year memory, I saw the nice little selfie. And one very interesting thing about that specific dinner is my brother and I, we have a special game where if we order the same thing, the other person gets all of the food that you ordered. On this specific situation, I ordered after my brother accidentally ordered the same thing. Everything for me went to my brother. So I didn't eat that night. So I was, you could say, extra animated, maybe a little extra into the whole show because I wasn't eating. I was only there for the show. So, yeah, let's just say
you're trying to get that shrimp piece that
it wasn't that difficult to get the hat in the end because I wasn't eating. I was literally just there.
No, you were praying that you were going to be the one he chose to flip the shrimp into your mouth or whatever so that you could have something to eat.
But on second thought, this brings me back to my point why I never go to Benihana again, and I highly suggest you never go ever again in your life. Is as a man who has been to Benihana and not eaten the food there, just watch the show. The show fucking sucks. The show sucks. It's not a good show. You're paying, like, the cost of Benihana is pretty fucking expensive, and I feel like those fees are on top because the show's included.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now you're getting a D- show out there. Sometimes you're getting a C+ performance out there if the chef really goes above and beyond. But if they just do their normal flip 3 shrimps in the hat, volcano tower laser,
maybe the beating heart with the fried rice.
The fried rice, yeah. The fact that we know all these tricks is saying something. Okay, we need some originality, some
creativity.
Yeah, I want to see something new if I'm ever going to go to Benihana today. So yeah, that's my rant on why Benihana sucks. But yeah, that'll do it for the intro. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today it is episode number 66. Seth episode was 3 episodes ago. God, I miss you, Seth. A lot of stuff to go over today. College football rankings just dropped like 20 minutes ago or so. We got those. Came in a little late today. Thank you, Kentucky, Michigan State, for your double overtime banger. Michigan State picking up a dub, by the way, over like number 6 Kentucky. So, hey, college basketball for most of the country doesn't start till like the last week of February, but for me, it started already. So yeah, and we got Duke, Kansas going on right now. But I know Everett's not watching that shit. Anyway, college football. We got to react to these rankings. Actually, not much to react to. It's kind of almost dead spot on with my predictions the other night. Gonna go over some college football matchups this weekend. Kind of a bit of a boring weekend. And last weekend, Oregon and UCLA really made this weekend less interesting. But still we got to go over it. And then of course NFL picks where
is the USC UCLA game not is that next week?
This weekend, this
It
Saturday.
is so okay. There is something. It's a ranked game. You can go to that.
No, yeah, but
You'll go to that.
UCLA lost last week, so it's not as important national scale wise. Still the biggest game.
Still the biggest
in
game for the
USC
Pac-12.
UCLA rivalry, probably in the last like 15, 20 years. So
also probably the biggest game for the Pac-12 this year. I mean, Oregon's out. It's between. I guess UCLA lost last week, right? So I mean, for USC, it is still a big game.
Yeah,
for USC, it's still a big game.
The Pac-12 is rooting for USC to win, and ironically, USC will be leaving the Pac-12 in a year or two. But hey,
so will UCLA. But
they're still under the Pac-12 brand for now. So Pac-12 fans, you could root for USC. Well, I guess you would really never be rooting for them, but screw it. If you got conference pride, you're rooting for them. But yeah, then we got NFL picks where there was a bit of a shakeup this week compared to normal when it comes to who was better at picking. But yeah,
hey,
okay.
Hey, I got it once.
Right.
I had it once.
That's all right. Okay, Everett. Let's get into the episode. College football rankings just dropped. Everett. Not sure if you have seen the rankings, but let's just say I was correct in terms of what the committee will probably do and are likely to do. So Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, that's your 1 through 4. Tennessee 5, LSU 6, USC 7, Bama 8, Clemson 9, Utah 10. Now, I had that exact same top 10, except I had Utah 9, Clemson 10. Committee flipped that. Whatever, that's okay with me. And the thought actually creeped in my mind today, and I can't believe I'm entertaining the idea, but what would have to happen for Clemson to get back into the playoff, Everett? Would TCU have to lose twice?
TCU would have to lose out, essentially.
Would TCU?
I think even if TCU loses twice, they're still in the championship game.
So let's say Clemson and Tennessee wins out. Who gets in?
Clemson and Tennessee went out. Okay, with Tennessee's getting in. What? Like that's not even a hard question.
I don't know. I mean, I thought maybe for a second you might have.
I might have argued that I might have argued that LSU should be ranked above Tennessee just by recency bias, but it doesn't mean I'm about to argue that Clemson's going to be getting in over Tennessee.
I mean, yeah, but I just want to see where you stand. Just want to see where you stood. But in my, I feel like a lot has to happen. I don't think Clemson has a good chance of making a playoff at all. But in order for that to happen, they'd have to win out. USC would have to lose, so the Pac-12 is eliminated. And then Tennessee and TCU would probably have to lose.
TCU would have to get blown out in the conference championship game, I think. I think even if TCU is I'm thinking it from this perspective. It would be Georgia, Ohio State, TCU, Clemson. I don't think the loser of Ohio State, Michigan's not getting in, and I think it's a cool, fun little idea. I know you're a big proponent of it, but I just think because it's the last week of the season, there's 0% chance. For that to happen, it needs to be an instant classic overtime game that Ohio State wins. Then Michigan can get it. But that's it. Yeah.
But hey, there's a pretty good fucking chance that probably will happen in this game. So, hey. But I do think a one-loss conference champion should be getting the nod over the loser of Ohio State, Michigan. And also, if Ohio State loses to Michigan, they're out. And that's coming from an Ohio State fan. Like they're out. If they lose at
I
home, they're
still
out.
think that both have a ability to make it. I still think that it's a
No,
possibility.
I think it is a possibility. I just think I think it has to be like a 3-point Ohio State win for that to happen. I think that's the only chance.
Yeah.
I do think if Michigan beats Ohio State, there's zero chance Ohio State gets in. Like, then a bunch of crazy stuff would also have to then happen. Then Ohio State can get back in. But as it stands now, probably not. And I'm assuming TCU is going to win out. And I've been hating on them all year. So takes a lot of me to admit that, Everett. But
Yeah, I can
okay.
see that. I still think that I think assuming TCU wins the Big 12, I think that they're going to make the playoffs. I think that they could essentially lose to unless LSU looks really, really good.
I also think that TCU can drop a game and still win it.
I think when they lose two, then it gets into some spooky territory. But I think
I could be wrong though. I don't know.
I think if LSU puts up a good couple of last 3 weeks, I could see it. It's all for ratings. So if LSU makes
a 3-loss LSU losing to Georgia,
aren't they a 2-loss team right now?
Yeah.
I guess if they lose in the championship, then they're 3. Yeah.
No, LSU has to win out to get in.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that.
So, yeah, well, I mean, it's just true. Like they're not going to have a 2-loss non-conference champ get in. That's just unheard of. But I mean, when I'm looking at the other things in these rankings, the USC at 7 is pretty interesting to me. That I think it's kind of interesting. The committee's giving USC a bunch of like slack, and as a USC guy, I love it. I love that
they
brand
end
bias is really, really hitting home.
Don't
Really
they end this season with 3 possible
They're going to finish
ranked
the year
opponents
with 3 ranked opponents. They're going to have UCLA, Notre Dame, and then Oregon.
Yes, assuming that's who they play. That's who they play in the championship. Yeah.
And
so, I mean,
Notre Dame's much better now than they were.
They can quiet the haters pretty quickly if they can get those wins. Because
if they rack
the whole argument,
it's deserved. But
the whole argument for US against USC
is 7 now.
The whole argument against USC is that they haven't played anybody, and I mean they still obviously are a 1-loss team. And I think that USC
I also do think even when they beat UCLA and Notre Dame, they're still not going to get any credit for that.
No, they won't, considering that they're but the way Notre Dame looked at the beginning of the season, and
good football team.
UCLA has not been looking great as of late. I think that if they win out and they win the championship, we'd have to see how things are looking for those top 4 teams, but USC might be able to sneak their way in there.
If they win out, they're in.
So it'll be interesting.
I do think it's funny though that the only conference where if they win out they're not in is Clemson and the ACC. It's the only conference where if you guys went out,
the ACC has been unbelievable.
I'm going to be honest. That's how little respect Notre Dame has this year among people. Okay. That loss to Notre Dame. Oh, out. You guys are done. Nope. See ya. Gone. Literally.
Don't forget Ohio State. It was a very close game.
I mean, sure.
All I'm saying is it was pretty damn close to being applied to Ohio State too after that week.
No. But I do think it's funny that I mean, I don't think Notre Dame's a good team, but there's the committee's got Notre Dame ranked 18th this week, Everett. So they're back.
I did see that. Yeah, they are back in it. They've been playing.
So I mean, Ohio State's that. I mean, that's an extra ranked win.
Yep.
I mean, in my opinion,
I don't know how much it's going to be looked at like that, but
in my opinion, it shouldn't matter the rank of your opponent when you play. Like Notre Dame was, I think, the number 5 team in the country week 1. That doesn't matter. Like your rank at the end of season should matter more. Like that shouldn't count as a top 5 win for Ohio State.
Well, I think that like let's say like for Tulane, right? Like we beat K-State when they weren't ranked. K-State is currently, I don't know if they're ranked anymore, but let's say the end of the year ranked.
right?
Kansas
Like
State's 15th right
it doesn't count. It doesn't count as a ranked win because we played them when they weren't ranked. But if they end the year as a ranked team, it should count as a ranked win.
No, exactly.
So
That's I
any
agree with
team
that.
when you play a team, if they are not ranked but end the year ranked, that win should count as a ranked win or ranked loss.
No,
That's
exactly.
That's a clip.
Well, I mean, it's kind of just like a standard thing. But yeah, no,
Thing,
yes,
but you
it's
know what?
true.
Those do numbers.
It
So
it shouldn't be the case when it comes to how these ranks are made. But I mean, whatever. Yeah, I'm more so thinking the end of the season argument because I don't think most
yeah.
people
Okay.
take into account that
One
Ohio
last
State has a
thing.
5 win.
Do you,
I want to
what?
go over some games real quick,
Okay.
college football, but yeah. I wanna
One last thing that I want to say for rankings. Tulane ranked 20th 21st. Are they 20th or 21st? 21st. 21st, ranked 21st in the playoff committee's polls. UCF ranked one above them at 20, and from what I have heard from
Cincy at 25 also. So
Yep.
got a ranked matchup coming up end of the
From
season.
what
Shout
I
out to
have-
the committee. Shout out to the committee getting eyes on the G5, setting up a ranked matchup between
also
Tulane
the
and
only
Cincy.
G5 conference that is ranked is the AAC. But just want to say from what I've heard from my sources, is the reason why the committee ranked Tulane and UCF back-to-back 2021 is because they believe the only reason UCF won the game was by a bogus pass interference call that gave them the ball back in order to march down the field and take a one-score lead with a minute left in the game.
I'm not entirely sure where you got those sources, but I'm going to believe them. I'm not going to fact check those. That is correct. That's the reason the committee knows it was a bullshit win. Everett, would you say that Tulane actually is respected this week by still being at 21? Or are they disrespected? Because I'm kind of more on the side like, I think the committee does respect Tulane.
Committee respects
at least
us
to have them ranked.
The committee respects us. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of expected them to drop. I expected them to drop us a little bit, and having us that close to UCF, I think, is an acknowledgement of how that game actually went.
Yeah.
In contrast to what UCF fans will tell you,
just one spot below, that's saying like, hey, neck and neck, you guys are right there.
But even if the playoff committee respects us, clearly the refs and the NCAA do not. So
yeah, I didn't know that UCF was rolling in some dough to pay off the refs.
Well, it's because they're going to the Big 12.
And you didn't bring this up. Last time, but Gene Chizik, or no, Gus Malzahn is their coach.
I didn't know his
watching
name.
the game. I was watching the game. I see him on the side, and I'm like, and I mean, I haven't seen Gus Malzahn in a while, so he has got gray hair now, and I was like, oh my god, that. You guys are playing against Gus? Like, yeah, I mean, shit. No, I mean, I see a lot of their offensive tendencies and their run game makes a lot of sense. That fucking Gus is calling it. But yeah, I didn't know that before the game. That would have changed. I mean, I still would have picked Tulane, but shit, I would have respected UCF a little more last week if I knew that. But hey,
yeah, well.
Hey. We'll see. We'll have a rematch.
All right, let's get into your game selections.
Couple of games that I wanted to preview. Okay, first things first. Before I get into USC, UCLA, Utah, Oregon, I want to talk about Illinois at Michigan and then Ohio State at Maryland. Ohio State, Michigan, both games going into the game week before. So Michigan is playing Illinois, who dropped out of the rankings, but Michigan are 18-point favorites. And from a pure Ohio State fan perspective, I hope Michigan wins this game by 50. I want
them to win by 50?
I want Michigan to beat Illinois 63 to 2 points.
So here's my question.
Actually, no, not a safety. That's a bat. 63 to 3. I want that to happen because I want Michigan to be feeling themselves all week. I want every single person in college football media, not even, we're going past college football media. I want Skip fucking Bayless next Monday on Undisputed to come out and say, Michigan is going to throttle Ohio State this Saturday. I want I want everyone to disrespect the fuck out of Ohio State. I hope Ohio State beats Maryland by fucking 1 point, and I hope Michigan wins by 60.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that
Disrespected Ohio State is a fucking scary and terrifying team, Everett. And Michigan dominating Illinois and Ohio State barely squeaking by Maryland, in my opinion, will get the best result out of
I'm
Ohio
not gonna
State.
lie. I was gonna say that this could be a trap game for them, but I thought Illinois had actually played some valued opponents. They have played
Illinois
nobody.
has just dropped like two
They
straight.
have played. They dropped 2 straight, but they have played literally nobody of any value.
No, like yeah, like I mean the Big
And I
Ten
thought that
West,
they had.
the Big Ten West is such a joke right now, Everett, that Iowa will probably make the Big Ten conference championship game.
Not Minnesota.
I think Iowa's gonna beat Minnesota this weekend.
It's, I mean that. Yeah, I mean if that happens, Lord rest Minnesota. Minnesota's program is in shambles. You can't lose to Iowa this year.
You shouldn't lose to Iowa, but I really do think that Iowa's got a really fucking good shot of getting in there, which goes to show how horrible the Big Ten West is as a conference. I understand why the Big Ten's getting 0 credit this year. Half of their conference is fucking dog shit. But yeah, Ohio State's 27.5 point favorites against Maryland. I would obviously never bet against Ohio State, but I would take Maryland points. I would take Maryland points in this game. I think this is a classic look-ahead spot for Ohio State right here, especially Maryland. Maryland, in my opinion, got caught in some look-ahead spots their past couple weeks. Maryland's dropped 2 in a row, including getting shut out by Penn State last week. So
I'm not gonna lie.
Right now is in the fucking
they're in the gutter. I would just by looking at the way Maryland has been playing this season, I really would not take them. I would not take their spread. I would take Ohio State spread. I honestly think that I'm
just saying, like, I just know that the Ohio State that'll show up next Saturday will not be great.
You think that they're just already going to have their eyes on Michigan, and they're just?
Well, I mean, I could just see them coming out flat.
I could see that, but like I also think
game at halftime.
It is just. Happens. I think that it is at this point in the season. It is just too important to come out like that. I think that they're going to kind of buckle up, and
I hope
Ryan Day is gonna get their shit together. I mean,
I hope it happens, but it's just every
look. This essentially ends the 3-game stretch that will be their essential preseason in the middle of the season before Michigan. They're getting a second preseason. So
no, after Penn State, they've had some tune-up games.
I would say that
really taking the foot off the
pedal. There are 2 ways it goes. Either they take the foot off the gas and they're just kind of relaxed, or they are relaxed and they beat the shit out of Maryland. So I personally think that after last week, seeing what they did at the end of the Indiana game, beating the shit out of Indiana, I think that
another thing about Ohio State though. Pretty fucking banged up, just like my Chargers, of course. My teams can't be healthy ever. But Ohio State, star running back Mine Williams got hurt, got stretchered off the field or carted off. He said he's good. He'll be playing for Michigan, but he's not playing this week. Ohio State this week, there are 2 other scholarship running backs on the roster. Trevion Henderson and then Dallin Hayden, they're both hurt also. They're both.
All right, you want my projections?
Like I'm just saying.
No, here. This is my projection for the
Maryland points.
This is my projection for Ohio State this week. Okay. CJ Stroud throws 4 touchdown passes, solidifies his Heisman candidacy.
How many does Marv get?
3.
Hat trick. Thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Marv gets 3. I think CJ Stroud throws 4 touchdown passes, throws for 370 yards, and solidifies his Heisman candidacy this week.
I'm actually going to come out and say this. This might be clippable. You tell me. The Ohio State-Michigan game will be so influential and massive for the college football landscape that I think it'll not only determine who will go on to represent the Big Ten and therefore who will be the number 2 seed in the playoff, But I also think it will determine who wins the Heisman Trophy. If Ohio State wins, CJ Stroud, there you go, sir. Heisman Trophy. And it doesn't even matter how he plays. If Michigan wins, Blake Corum, you are the Heisman Trophy winner. That's like, I really think this Ohio State Michigan game might be the fucking most biggest Ohio State Michigan game in terms of a national landscape and impact.
This is one of the years.
Ever.
This is one of the most recent or like that or two one of the years in most like recent memory where there has not been a solidified front runner this late in the season. Like you have no idea what way this is going to go. I mean, we all fucking know Stetson Bennett is not going to get the Heisman, but outside of that, like I have no idea what's going on. Like if you're throwing money on Stetson Bennett's Heisman candidacy, what the fuck are you doing?
I don't think anyone's doing that.
No, he's like the fourth. He's like the fourth. He's like the fourth odds to get the Heisman right now.
I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware, but I really think it's a CJ Stroud, Blake Corum.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Bo Nix would have been in it if they didn't lose last week.
And the thing is, it's just all about narrative momentum, and lucky for the Ohio State Michigan players, lucky for Stroud and Corum, they happened to play last week of the season. So yeah, good. For
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's my Ohio State Michigan. Actually, okay, I forgot to say, Everett, last episode you had time to gloat about your players, and I don't think I've gloated enough about this player this year.
Wait, my
Marvin Harrison.
I didn't gloat about my players.
No, like last episode we were going over Justin Jefferson.
I thought you were talking about Tulane. I was I was just angrily ranting about the rest.
No, but I'm saying I gave you some time to hype up your voice, talk about your guys. So I'm gonna take time to hype up a guy that I don't think I've hyped up enough this year, because in my opinion, the public's been doing that for me. But Marvin Harrison Jr. is actually the greatest receiver to ever suit up in the scarlet and gray. Okay. Marvin Harrison Jr., Joel Klatt, he's gone a lot of the Ohio State games recently, all of them getting big noon kickoffs, which is horrible as a California guy, 9 a.m. games. But in all of these games, Joel Klatt's been saying week in, week out, that he thinks in 5 years, Marvin Harrison Jr. will be the best receiver in the NFL. Now, that's a bold fucking take, Everett. That's a bold ass take. Best receiver in the NFL in 5 years? I mean, Jettis is the best in the league, and I give you that shit. I know that's true. But he's saying in 5 years Marv might do it, and I'm going to be honest. The shit that Marv is doing right now is just unreal. Okay.
I understand that. I understand that. I
don't believe he's going to be the best receiver in the 5 years.
No, if
Joel Klatt said it, but
if you look at all these receivers, look at all these receivers from college football. Okay, that's a fair assessment.
There's a lot of good guys.
Look at all these receivers in college who look at Devonta Smith, Heisman winner. Look at Justin Jefferson. Look at Jamar Chase. Look at all these prolific.
Well, he's better than Smitty.
I know, but I'm saying look at all these wide receivers in college football that were doing things that nobody was seen before, right? That everybody said this is new, like they're gonna be amazing. Like it happens every single year, and it's nothing against Marv. Like Marv is
Marv's actually doing shit. Marv is actually mossing dudes, like catching back. He actually is.
Finish my fucking point.
No, go on, but
Marv is obviously by far and away the best wide receiver in college football. When you get to an NFL level, everybody is doing that shit. Everybody is doing that shit, and you have to.
KJ Osborne's not doing that shit.
You're looking at starters. I'm looking at. I'm not talking about the fucking fifth string wide receiver on the Tennessee Titans. I'm talking about starters, which I'm assuming Marvin Harrison's going to be a starter in the NFL, unless you want to argue against that case. But if you're looking at all the starters,
but you just said everyone in the NFL did that.
And then you and I both fucking know what the point I was trying to make was.
I didn't know. You said everyone. And it seems to me like you were trying
to I have to be more specific. Starting wide receivers in the NFL, we see this happen.
I mean, there's a difference between everyone and starting wide receivers. You can at least admit that. No? Okay, fuck.
Yes. Okay. All right. But look, I'm knowing the shit out of me.
What? You're coming after my guy.
I'm not
I
coming
don't
after your
come- I
guy.
don't
All I'm
come
saying,
after
all I'm saying
Justin
is
Jefferson
stating,
like that.
by stating
I
that
only
he's
go
going to
after Kirk.
no, but by stating that he's going to be the best wide receiver in the NFL in 5 years is coming after Justin Jefferson because Justin Jefferson's going to be the best wide receiver in the NFL in 5 years. I can understand if you want to make an argument that he's going to be top 5, top 10 at that point. Yes, like that's a fair assessment based on what we've seen in college, and I'm assuming that's going to translate into the NFL.
Well, I mean, obviously, you can't say it about a sophomore. I mean, it is an idiotic take to say he'll be the best receiver in 5 years.
But like all I'm saying is
He's
the
not
stuff
gonna see
that the
this
stuff
gas
that people
off.
are crazed about him doing in college, if that translates into the NFL, obviously that's going to allow him to be a top wide receiver in the NFL, but it's not going to be anything that we don't see other wide receivers do week in and week out. We saw 2 wide receivers do it in the same fucking game this past week.
Well, my one thing though that does give Marv a lot of credit is that every Ohio State receiver that goes in the league is gold. So he gets a bump in that category, at least in terms of GM's opinions and scouts, which I don't know, maybe they start using him like he's a wide receiver one from day one. Kind of,
Instead of what
just
the
banking
Jets,
on potential,
instead of what the
like
Jets
the
did with
Bengals
Garrett
with
Wilson.
Jamar,
It's what the Jets should have done with Garrett Wilson, but
which they've kind of been doing the past 2 weeks.
well, no,
We'll see
now
if that
they've
continues after the bye.
started to get him back with Zach
We'll
Wilson,
see.
but with Joe Flacco, he was doing
But
better.
I mean, we hate Zach Wilson, so I mean, I don't want to spend any more time on Zach Wilson. But I just want to my final point was Marv. He's the best receiver I thought it was Garrett. But what Marv is doing right now, it's just like
You thought it was
bigger than
JSN.
Garrett. Oh, actually, I actually have completely wiped him from my memory because he hasn't played this year. But yeah, I mean, JSN's also fucking freaky. Shit, I don't even. Hopefully, my Chargers get him. Oh my god, that would make me so happy. But okay, yeah. Ohio State receiver room. You guys have seen everyone on the internet fucking bragging about them. But okay, real quick, USC UCLA. I will be at the Rose Bowl this weekend, so I want to say a couple of fun little things about this game. Do you have 2 things to say?
No,
What was
fight on. It's your fucking insignias for USC.
I'll be honest. Like the fight on's got like a little like rock to it. So when I just saw, I was like, I don't know if you're like signaling me. You got 2 things. To
I mean,
say.
I don't
But,
go to
okay.
USC. Like,
also USC is a 2-point favorite. That could have also been what you were signaling.
you might want to be banging that 2-point favorite. Then that sounds like a lock to me.
This is what. Well, yeah. I mean, if USC is winning, yeah, it'll probably be by 3 or more points. I mean, shit. Yeah. But anyway, okay. For this USC UCLA preview, I'm going to be honest. I don't know how USC is going to stop UCLA's run game, Everett. The only man who can help the USC run defense is God at this point. Maybe Jesus. Nothing. I don't know what will stop Charbonnet and DTR on the ground. But I'm going to be honest, Caleb Williams has been fucking nuts this year. Everett. I'm about to tell you Caleb Williams stats on the year. They're pretty interesting. 3,000 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, 1 interception. About to get the completion percentage number up real quick. Oh, 2 picks. Never mind. Not impressive.
Doesn't matter anymore.
Never mind. I thought I was about to brag on, but 2 picks. He sucks. I'm just very, very, very excited that this game is actually meaningful in this rivalry. Like you can't say that every year. If I was a neutral
say that for
fan,
the last decade.
No, you definitely can't. If I was a neutral fan, I would probably lean UCLA, but I'm not. So USC hammer alternate spread. Take him at -8.5 plus 190 on DraftKings. Yeah, shout out to our sponsor. But yeah, USC big. And then Utah, Oregon would have been a cooler game, but it's not. So I'm not going to give any time of the day. NFL, Everett. You beat me last week when it came to the NFL picks. So that gives me the honor of announcing the games and picks and everything this week. So starting off, we got our bye week teams: Dolphins, Seahawks, Bucks, and Jags.
No one cares about the bye weeks. All right, get into the actual slate.
No. I mean, it's
no. I don't.
No
we don't
Dolphins. Care. That is sad. Thursday night we got Titans at Packers. Sunday Early slate: Bears at Falcons, Browns at Bills, Eagles at Colts, Jets at Patriots, Rams at Saints, Lions at Giants, Panthers at Ravens, Commanders at Texans, primetime slots: Raiders at Broncos, Cowboys at Vikings, Bengals at Steelers, and then Sunday night, Chiefs at Chargers, and Monday night, 49ers at Cardinals. Everett, are we doing picks right now?
Picks first, and then let's go through the games.
Okay.
Also, just want to shout out.
Quick
I just want to shout out real quick. Oh, you're doing the recap right now of last week?
No, you can do a shout. I'll do that. Yeah.
Reason why I won this past week is because I knew, and I called it, and we put this out on Twitter after the game. It's on YouTube as well, and you can relive all of our greatest moments from last week's call right there. I called the Commanders beating the Eagles this past week. I said after I watched what they did to the Vikings the week before with what Heineke does, the God Killer, the God Butcher, that they were going to win. And I was right.
Yeah, they got the dub. I'll be honest, in my opinion, the most impressive part of that whole scenario is that was a Monday night game, and you happen to miss some Monday night games occasionally. So you actually did not give a pick for that game. I had to tell you, like, oh, there's also a Monday night game between Commanders and Eagles. And I said, well, that's an easy pick. And then when you gave out your pick, you gave Commies and go, no, that's not a fucking easy pick, Grant. But I just want to say, shout out, because that was a full-on gut insta pick. You didn't even know that game existed.
I didn't even know that game was existed until literally we went through it live.
So I'll tip the cap, Everett. I'll tip the cap. I'll be honest. That makes it much more.
And we have the analysis to go with it too. I had an analysis why I made that pick.
Yeah, but week 10 results. I went 7-7. Everett went 8-6. My overall record now puts me at 88-62. Everett, do you have your overall record counted, or
81-69?
There you go. There you go. You're getting there. You're getting there. But okay. Now time for picks.
Also, just want to shout out, neither of us have been negative since week 3.
I have never been negative ever this season. So
I have not been negative since week 3.
Mm-hmm. I've been even twice in the past month. But last week I went 11-2, and boy, was I feeling myself. And then I got a little overzealous in my picks. So we're going back to the normal strat. But okay, these are my picks: Packers, Falcons, Bills, Eagles, Jets, Saints, Giants, Ravens, Commanders, Broncos, Vikings, Bengals, Chargers, 49ers. God, on second thought, I really want to flex that and pick Lions over Giants, but I'm sticking with Giants. But I really fucking like the Lions on second thought.
I know, I saw that.
Sticking with Giants. Sticking with Giants. Okay. Everett, give me your picks.
So my picks are going to be a little bit out of order just by the way that my ESPN is set up. But Titans, Vikings, Bills, Colts, Patriots, Saints, Giants, Ravens, Commanders, Broncos, Bengals, Chiefs, Cardinals. Now, let me dive in.
What was your Broncos Raiders pick again?
Broncos.
Okay.
I think that Derek Carr might be weeping.
I'll be honest. The Raiders are so fucking bad that I'd still pick the Broncos over them.
It says a lot, and this is my analysis as to why.
Then again, it would be so NFL if the Raiders come out and just shit on the Broncos next
No,
week.
this is my analysis. This is my precise analysis why I chose the Broncos, because of my prop lock from last week, which was not a lock so much as a complete and total bust with Derrick Henry over 106.5 rushing yards. Broncos, I was then informed after the fact by you that they have the best run defense in the NFL. You can see how much research I put into that pick.
I don't
Josh
know if
Jacobs,
the best, but their
Josh
front
Jacobs
is the biggest strength of their team.
Josh Jacobs is essentially the cornerstone of the offense for the Raiders right now, and if they stop that, really, it's just Patrick. It's just Devontae, and all you gotta do is double team.
Like literally just base everything off you said. Like the Raiders, the most success they found recently is getting Josh Jacobs going in the run game. However, the best part of the Broncos team is their
Happens to be the run defense.
Is their run defense. So
A
bit of a tough task for Josh McDaniels.
Other game I'm going to get into real quick.
Tough.
Two other games actually. First thing I'm just going to mention Lions and Giants. We both picked Giants. I'm also with you, by the way, on the Lions.
Fuck.
Dude, I swear it's a gut feeling.
Teams, I don't know what it is, but it's the Panthers. They trade away McCaffrey and shit. Then they start winning. Lions trade away Hawk. They win. I'm not saying Hawkinson is a cancer to the locker room, but I'm saying
clearly he's
the
not.
Lions players are like, hey, our GM is giving up, but we're fucking still going at it.
They fight for Dan Campbell. They're fighting for Dan Campbell.
I think it might be a little bit of that.
So I also to note, by the way, Peyton Manning went into Ford Field, and took like a bathtub of like bourbon or some shit and some sage and just sanitized that whole stadium of all of its curses from Calvin Johnson to Barry Sanders, all that shit for the last 75 years. Since then, the Lions are 2-0. So maybe they've been
do what you got to do.
But so. I am very much with you on that game, and it is bold to say that we both actually think the Lions could win that game, but we both picked the Giants. I don't know. I feel like the Giants are good, but they're still the Giants.
No, it's just like
the Lions always find
that's too good to be true.
The Lions always find a way. Like they're always competitive in games for whatever reason, even if they're terrible. And they always find a way to pick up a couple wins here or there throughout the year when you have zero clue that thinking that they're going to win.
I think this is actually one of the most difficult weeks of NFL when it comes to picking. I think in terms of these 3, 4, 5, even 6-win teams, I don't think there's a big difference between a lot of these teams.
There's really not.
Think there's a big gap at all.
But okay, the one other game I really wanted to talk about.
I got one that's tickles my fancy, but yeah.
Eagles and Colts.
Yeah, I got this one circled. So I'm kind of under the impression that I think the Eagles, I'm just going to guess that it's going to be a team bounce back, just a big win. I'm not even going to necessarily say big, but just bounce back, get a dub. I don't know. I just kind of feel that.
Here's my thing. Okay. I think that we see a little commotion in the ocean going on. We see a little switch of directions for teams at this point in the season where you think that they're going to be really good. Commotion in the ocean.
I like the little rhyme, like little lingo phrases you're using today, but all right, keep going.
Like, as a Vikings fan, I've seen this before. They were 8-0, ended up 8-8. It is fully possible. It has happened before. They look like the best team in the NFL, and it's an absolute collapse after that first loss.
You can't be 8-8 this year. It'd be 9-8 or 8.
This was 2018, I believe. This was 2018. So this is what I'm thinking, and this is why I'm riding the Colts. And I could be wrong, and after this week, I will know. But this Eagles team, has not faced an ounce of adversity this entire season.
And they also have, I think, the 4th easiest schedule remaining for the rest of the season. So
I'm not going to lie. I looked at the Eagles schedule, and I'm not that much of a fan after what I watched last night. I actually don't think that it's going to be that easy for them. But with the Colts, they rally behind Jeff. Like, they looked like a functioning organization last week.
It was really weird.
They looked a lot like what we saw last year. And with Jonathan Taylor coming back, resurging back to looking like his self from last year, I'm really curious if Jordan Davis isn't back to play and that interior D line for the Eagles is not up to speed. If Jonathan Taylor takes over this game and they start gashing them, I don't think that it's going to be a completely different game. And with that also said, the Colts have, obviously they have Michael Pittman. You're going to put Darius Slay on him, but then they have Paris Campbell, Ohio State alumni. And he has done so well over these past couple weeks.
He's finally healthy.
I guarantee you he's going to get out in space. He's going to be open and he's going to be making some plays. And that could be the game changer of this week. It also just comes down to whether or not Jonathan Taylor can get going on the ground and how much Matt Ryan actually looks like a funcking quarterback, because you never know week to week. But
I do think it is very interesting that other than when the Vikings played the Eagles, the first time you picked against the Eagles all season was last week when they lost, and you're doing it again. Everett, if the Colts beat the Eagles this week, you might be a fucking voodoo witch doctor and have a curse on the Eagles. Did you hex them? Did you place a hex on the Philadelphia Eagles? Because shit, I mean, that's what
if I put a hex on them, you almost unhex them, because if you guys, we solved this past weekend. Whenever Grant tunes into a game that has some requirement of one of my teams, like that might help one of my teams, the team always gets fucked over. Like when he was tuned into the Vikings game, Vikings were blowing it, tunes out, goes to the Bears game, Vikings come back and win. He's tuning it. We were like literally on and off like a switch. He tuned in the game Monday night. Commanders throw a pick. Eagles charge back. They get a touchdown. Tunes out. Eagles immediately.
I remember I turned my shit off and then fumble like a bullshit. Literally, that should not have gone to the comments.
Not even like a minute after you turn it off, fumble. And
I swear, like,
and then you turned it back on. You turned it back on, and then the Commanders throw a pick. And then you turn it back off.
It's kind of like a somewhat similar case when it's me at Dodger games, where every time I get out of my seats, the Dodgers hit home runs.
I can confirm that.
It's like every time I start watching games where Everett has some type of rooting interest involved, I fuck over his teams.
You might be the reason why we lost last week to UCF.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest. Well, I watched your guys' Houston game, so I mean, I guess it did count for that, but I did watch the loss to Southern Miss. So
okay. Well, so yeah, do not watch any game that relates to me for the next.
Yeah, no. I mean, for the sake of you, I'll not do it. But hey, maybe it goes both ways, and you can watch Ohio State games and they'll lose.
Well, we can solve that.
We'll have to find that out.
We can solve that this weekend.
Yeah. Let's test it this week.
So we'll test it this week.
The Michigan game.
Okay? We'll test it this week, just in case.
I gotta know before. Okay.
Okay.
I got a game that, for me, this is my what the fuck game of the week. I don't know what to pick, and I know you're gonna have strong opinions against this, so I actually want you to help guide me.
Okay. All right.
In the thought process. My what the fuck game of the week is this Thursday night between the Titans and Packers. Everett, I have no fucking clue who to pick. Everett, tell me why the Titans are going to shit on the Packers.
I'm not going to lie. I was sitting here after last week, and I feel like the
Packers, but I was like, I don't know.
I feel like the Packers, just by the way that Aaron Rodgers exists, I just feel like the Packers are about to hit a nice little hot streak. But I don't think that starts. I think that they might be a little bit more competitive in games. They might have closer games, but I don't think that
a little more pep in their step.
A little more pep in their step, but I don't think that means they're going to make it any more competitive, like as a record wise. I think they're still going to start losing these games because they're just on paper, like they just do not match up. That doesn't mean that they're not going to play hard. I think that they're going to be a much more formidable foe in comparison to how they seemed at the beginning of the season. With that said, though, the Packers defense has looked like booty cheeks for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. And boy, was I wrong about my take on what a fucking hammer pick draft for the Packers.
And Derrick Henry,
are their boys all hurt now too?
Yeah.
One of the
linemen. Stokes is on IR. I think one of their linebackers.
I'm not even thinking. They had a lineman who got
D lineman. One of their D linemen's on IR. Like they're injured. So Derrick Henry, I think, is about to run for maybe 170 yards on them. And that's specifically because if Derrick Henry starts running on them, then the Titans own the clock. There's nothing the Packers really can do.
Too.
And like I think the Titans also are finally they're getting back Burks. They have Robert Woods.
Yeah, just
don't run to Kenny Clark, and then you'll run well. That's the game
that's
plan
it.
for the Titans.
I just think that
Don't
on
run to Kenny
paper,
Clark.
the way that the Titans play matches up very well against the Packers. Obviously, the Packers won last week. They look like they're going to be a new team for the next couple of weeks. But even then, I just think that the Titans are too well coached. They're just too good of a team to necessarily drop this one.
Vrabes is like, he's established himself as like actually a top 10 coach in the NFL.
Yeah. Yes,
Vrabes is doing a good ass job. But yeah, that's my what the fuck game of the week. But you've actually helped me a lot. I mean, I can't change my pick, but yeah, Titans.
My what the fuck. By the way, my what the fuck. I technically have 2 what the fuck games of the weeks.
I got another what the fuck actually.
One of them's the Jets Patriots game.
Yeah.
I think the Patriots would pick that up.
Now I want to say the Patriots are gonna win also, but I'm actually fading myself on this pick by taking the Jets. I don't know what it is. I just feel like they're gonna split this year.
So here's the deal.
I don't think it's gonna be a sweep. That's the
Patriots. Patriots already beat the Jets in New York. Zach Wilson played horrifically, and on like Bill Belichick has had a very good track record versus the Jets with Zach Wilson since he's been on the team. And that's nothing against the Jets. Like so far, they're playing very well this year. Robert Saleh is a coach of the year candidate, but I don't think that they win this game with Zach Wilson at quarterback. I think that Garrett Wilson, he'll get some targets. He'll play nicely.
And I'm pretty sure when the Jets played the Patriots like 3 weeks ago, Garrett
he was doing well.
Some numbers,
but I think if the Jets have Breece Hall, this is kind of a different game because they can use that run game. You can utilize that to take pressure off of Zach Wilson.
J-Rob hasn't been looking too hot.
No, J-Rob has not. So I think with that, look at the Patriots. Look at what they've been able to do. Look at how much they beat the shit out of the Colts 2 weeks ago. That's the game Frank Reich got fired after. So, and I know the Jets just beat the Bills, but I don't necessarily think that. I think that their ego is going to be way too.
No, I know.
I think the Patriots are going to win that. Ramondre Stevenson's going to look good.
Just throw everything out the fucking window.
The other game that I have before we talk about Vikings and Chargers, by the way, and we'll wrap with those two. 49ers and Cardinals. I actually have the
Rams Saints.
I actually have the Cardinals picked on this. If you've saw their performance last week, it was very inspiring in comparison to what we have seen from them at the beginning of the year. I think that now everything's on the line for Cliff Kingsbury. I think that he realizes his job is on the line.
Time to nut up or shut up.
It's time to nut up or shut up. He's going to have the inverse of his record per year that we were talking about in the preseason, where he just shits the bed every year at week 8. He's flipping that shot the bed before week 8, and now he's going to go off after week 8.
Okay.
So I think that he's going to start picking up some wins. I don't think that means they're making the playoffs by any stretch, but I do think that it's going to make it a bit more competitive.
Stay a frisky team, you know.
I think it's making it, and by the way, with the Rams losing Cooper Kupp, I think that they're out. They're not making the playoffs this year. They're done. That's 4 to 5 weeks. That's it. They're wrapped. So I think that
even with him, it was wrapped anyway.
Yeah, I think that the Cardinals picked this up versus the 49ers. Like that might knock the 49ers out of the playoff picture after this week. Obviously, they can get back into it, but I think the Cardinals picked this one up. I think if you've been watching what they've been doing
so tight right now
on the Hard Knocks, there's a clip from their Hard Knocks because they're doing in-season Hard Knocks. They're just dialed the fuck in right now.
I haven't watched any. I'm assuming you've been keeping up with it.
I haven't watched any. I've just seen some clips they were posting after the last game. All right. Let's get in the Chargers and Chiefs.
Yeah, let's do that.
And we'll wrap with Vikings Cowboys.
Okay, real quick, Chargers Chiefs. I don't have much to break down. Just couple of quick comments. Apparently, Mike Williams will be playing this Sunday.
Did hear that?
Keenan is questionable, which means Keenan Allen will not be playing this Sunday. But Mike Williams, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Keenan Allen's not coming back this year. I think he's done.
Oh, me neither. No, I don't think. I think it's like JSN. Like, of course, both my fucking star receivers aren't playing this year. Of fucking course, my luck. But no, like Keenan's not coming back. But Mike Williams is back. In that first game against the Chiefs, week 2 in Arrowhead, Mike Williams in the first half was fucking balling. Okay. They kind of need Mike Williams on the field to win this game. So from that perspective, I understand rushing him back. But just based on the track record of the Chargers' injury history, not only this season, but forever, Mike Williams might just tear both ACLs next week if he plays. So part of me says don't play him. But then again, it's the fucking Chiefs, and the Chargers play better against good teams. That Niners game last week in Everett, I know we ended up choking, but the Chargers are built different when they play against good teams. And it's just
I agree with that,
but of the Chargers against the Chiefs. I have no explanation for any of it.
I agree with that, but I also only agree with that when their team is healthy.
Now, I would agree. I would have agreed with that too. But last week, the Chargers, in the span of 48 hours, had 3 interior D linemen either get cut or hurt. They were down to fucking, I think, 4 interior linemen at one point in the game.
But here's my thing. Here's my thing. When I think about
they held McCaffrey to like 32 rushing yards on 14 carries.
But
I've never seen the run defense
McCaffrey. With McCaffrey though, like I don't really think of McCaffrey. When I think of McCaffrey, I don't think about his run game. I think about his pass catching ability. So I don't necessarily say that that's super impressive. My thing is,
okay, Everett, keep in mind that we make Tyler Algier look like fucking Barry Sanders against us 2 weeks ago. He ran for like 100 yards on 9 carries.
This is what I was gonna say though. When I think about the Chargers winning games against good opponents, right? When I think about those matchups, notably last year with the Chiefs, right? And how they played this year with the Chiefs already. I don't think about the Chargers defense. I always think about the way that the offense plays in those games. And what I'm saying specifically I don't think that they match up, that I don't think that they can do that they can play that way unless the offense is fully healthy. And since they're not, even with Mike Williams coming back, like what, you got Josh Palmer, you've got, I don't know who your other wide receiver.
Ass. DeAndre Carter, ass. Michael Bandy, a literal practice squatter.
Like, I would love to take the Chargers in this game, and I had such high hopes for them going into the season. And I think that it's been absolutely just wasted by Brandon Staley. Yeah. By the way the Chiefs have looked, Kadarius Toney's about to beat the shit out of your secondary.
Don't even bring it up. Don't even bring it up to me. Don't bring it up.
It's a matter of whether or not your offense can keep pace.
The shit out of Asante last week.
It's like I don't think about your defense because I think of the defense just as a non-factor in these games, just on a basis. So it's always up to whether or not the offense can throw punch for punch and come back in that final knockout. And I don't think that
you're gonna have to score.
I don't think that they can unless Keenan Allen is there and healthy.
Now, this is the thing. I would 100% agree with you and everything. This is my one slight thing, and obviously my Chargers bias is coming in. But Justin Herbert looks fucking fully healthy again. Last week, they ran quarterback sneak for the first time all season. Last year, Justin Herbert was 12 for 12 on quarterback sneaks. Seems like a pretty, I don't know, beneficial thing to use in your offense.
Okay, all right.
All you have to do is hurt. Now he's ready.
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick. You're talking about Justin Herbert, and obviously him being healthy. Like if he wasn't healthy, this wouldn't even be a question.
I was just saying, like last week, he was making what I would say were airbender throws that defied gravity. And
he hurt his ribs in that Chiefs game. By the way, the first Chiefs game, it was that game
in the second half.
Yeah. So look, I'm looking at that game, right? The Chargers lose by 3.
If we talk about horseshit call first half, pass interference on the Chargers, which gave the Chiefs a touchdown on a third, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. If we have all these starters back, right? Mike Williams, Gerald Everett, Deontay Carter, Eckler, right? Palmer. Like let's say all.
Did you just describe them as superstars?
No, I said starters.
Okay, good.
No.
They're not superstars.
Let's say that they're all playing, right? So you have the same offensive lineup outside of Slater, I guess, coming back for this game. The big key, if we say they're all going to play the same, is going to be Austin Eckler actually getting yards because he had 2.8 average rushing yards per carry versus the Chiefs.
No,
so it'll get that run game going. I could see it being a closer
game.
That won't
happen.
But I think that the big key here is going to be how well the offense can keep up punch for punch. And I honestly don't think that they can do that without Keenan Allen being there. And it's going to be interesting to see if Keenan Allen does come back, how the offense completely differs, because I think that you should be able to, if you're going to be one of the top teams in the NFL, you should be able to play well without your number one wide receiver option.
Yeah, we also had Bosa in that first game. Yeah, I mean, on
Okay.
paper,
All right,
there's
let's
no reason you should.
my computer's about to die here in a minute. So let's wrap up this episode with the Vikings and
quick,
Cowboys.
Cowboys, Vikings. Everett, I just want to say -1 point, my 1 point favorite for the Cowboys, Everett, on the road, Everett. So, yeah, I'll let you take it away.
I'm gonna be at this game. So the boys are getting out to
you are?
the football games this weekend. So here's the thing. One, it's +3 points, or it's -3 points for home field advantage for spread. So they're basically stating that if this was played somewhere else, the Cowboys would decimate the Vikings.
Are we sure that's -3? I don't think that's like a set thing.
That's kind of what I was told.
I think it's a
3 points from.
I think it's a based on team type thing.
But anyways, they're still picking the Cowboys to win in Minnesota, which I think just is disrespectful. There's been a decent amount of media presence even after this specifically after the game this week that still has basically been like, all right, well, the Vikings only won because the Bills sold. No, the Vikings won because they came back against a team that not only was playing, they came back against a team that was playing very well. They came back by playing well against that team. And on top of that, they had to come back against the entire refs supporting the Bills. So let's not forget that.
Yeah, they had the Bills had a 12th man on the field, literally.
They had
the Commanders.
They did have a 12th man on the field, but they also had 5 additional players on top of that wearing
I
white
wasn't
and black.
even thinking about the 12 man on the field. That also occurred.
That also did occur, yes, but they had 5 additional players in black and white stripes specifically. But look, I think that so
versus the refs, I fucking love it. Okay,
week out. Okay, so first thing to note, the Vikings are the only team in the NFL who have not lost at home this year, undefeated at home.
I was gonna say, like, the Vikings at home is terrifying. They're like one of the only teams that really have a home field advantage.
The Vikings also, fun fact, the Vikings, when the Cowboys have played in Minnesota, I believe the Cowboys have won the previous 5 meetings in Minneapolis.
5 straight? Damn.
Yeah, but also, according to NFL's weekly release, the last time the Vikings and the Cowboys met in the season where both teams were above 500 by 3 or more games was November 26th of 1998. You know what happened in that game? Thanksgiving game? You know the meme of Randy Moss looking into the camera where it's 3 receptions, 103 yards, 3 touchdowns, and going like this? Yeah, it was that game. So
the iconic photo that
we got that in 98,
like twice a month from college football players.
We got that in 98. 2022, we're getting Justin Jefferson 103, 3 touchdowns, looking in the camera, going like this.
I'm just saying he is 87 yards away from breaking Randy, or 88.
Look, I think that
this weekend on Trevon Diggs' head.
Obviously, the Cowboys have a phenomenal defense. It's probably, I think it is the best defense in the NFL this year. Micah Parsons is scary. D-Law is scary, but I don't know so much about their interior D-line. I'm praying to God Christian Darrisaw is back to go up against Parsons. He's in concussion protocol. He should be back, but he's in concussion. So I'm honestly,
I thought you said he was injured.
No, he had a concussion. So having Brian O'Neill, and I'm a little bit more worried about Brian O'Neill than I am about Christian Darrisaw, even though Christian Darrisaw is probably going to go up against Parsons.
Right tackle.
Right tackle. But I think having them on the edges is going to make a very big impact. And since I think the interior O-line and D-line for them kind of match up, even though our interior O-line is not as great. So it's just going to be interesting. I don't think that the offense for the Cowboys has played exceptionally well. Obviously, people are going to look at CeeDee Lamb last week and say like, "Oh my God, he's the second coming of fucking Calvin Johnson." But I think that that's a.
Have people been saying that?
No, but a fluke. They've been saying that he's like one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that it was a fluke game. I think obviously the Vikings secondary is not great by any means. They're definitely not as good as the team that the Cowboys are playing against last week. But I think that it's not going to be the same thing. Like even this past week, the Vikings
They
let up
show up
12
in moments though.
The Vikings let up 12 receptions to Stephon Diggs, 150 yards, and the Vikings still won. So I don't really care. The big deal is going to be stopping Tony Pollard. If you can stop the run, you're going to stop the Cowboys offense.
I was about to say the best thing you can hope for is Zeke to be healthy for this game,
And
because
here's
that's
going to be the
number one
big
way to
thing.
shut down
I
Tony
don't
Pollard.
know if Dalvin Tomlinson comes back, who is our best interior D lineman. If he comes back, that makes a world of an impact for stopping the run. I'm still going to be high on Harrison Phillips. He's done a great job. He did a great job last week. But I think that that's going to be the key to this game. I think the Vikings +1. I think the Vikings money line is locked this week. I think that this also, because
Take
the Eagles lost,
spread
because
and
the
take them at,
Eagles
like,
lost,
-5.
because the Eagles lost, this is going to be, this game was already important. It is 10 times more important now. You have to go punch for punch with the Eagles the rest of the season. I think the Eagles
I actually had a quick question though, Everett, because you're a hater of bye weeks. Should the next time the Eagles lose, should the Vikings also purposely lose to not have that bye week?
I'm a hater of bye weeks. However, I've been thinking about it, and I thought about this after I saw the playoff rankings. If I assume that the Eagles are going to lose whatever matchup they play in the first round, or I guess the second round, and the Vikings are going to win, I'm fine with that, because the home field advantage is the biggest thing there. With thinking about, though, the Vikings came out of their bye week and played very well. And I said that then. I said I'm more apt to say let's have a bye in the playoffs than I am now for saying
I
not.
also just kind of feel like a bye week at the end of a 17-game season would be pretty beneficial.
It's
health-wise
all based on how your team can prep during that bye week. And by the way, that Kevin O'Connell seems to be able to prep them how they did prep. I think that
you guys got the right pick, unlike my franchise.
I think that it definitely looks better for them to have that first round bye, because now you solidify home field advantage through the whole thing. You don't have to worry about playing one of those teams that might sneakily be a very good playoff. Like the 49ers every year are just, for whatever reason, an amazing playoff team.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to worry about like those first round teams. Like maybe the Giants sneak through and you get to play the Giants at home in Minnesota in the playoffs. Like,
well, I also think just the NFC landscape in general just won't be that tough.
I
think
I am more scared.
Matchup with Brady.
I am more scared. I am more scared about first round matchups so far from what it looks like than I am about what the possible matchups could be in the second round or with the bye week going into the divisional round. So I think by the way that it looks, I personally kind of want to see them get that first round bye. I think that also being able to kind of just bodies. With you when I mean, no, it is legit. Some people really just do not want that.
But for baseball, I'm a proponent of fuck the bye week. But for the NFL, I can see a little different opinion. But yeah.
But with that, unless you have anything else, I think that's going to do it for our episode today. Next week,
Justin Jefferson's breaking just a stupid record, and he will 100% be the most paid per season NFL wide receiver of all time.
Next week, we will have two very special guests on for Grant v. Michigan Men.
Yeah, either Grant versus Michigan Men or just Grant versus Michigan. We'll figure that out. But yeah,
but this has been in the works for a minute. We have been planning this for months. It will be the highlight of our
going to be on
Ohio State of the Union,
and then the only like lifelong Michigan fan I've known my whole life. So like I've literally been beefing with him since I was like 5 years old. So
toddlers.
I think it'd be good dynamics.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great episode. We're gonna see either we're gonna add it to the end of one of our episodes or it's gonna be its own thing. We'll figure that out. But with that, thank you guys so much for watching, listening. Rate us 5 stars. Follow us on YouTube, on TikTok, on Spotify, on Twitter, all at Waterboy Pod. We know everybody's flying home for the holidays. With that, we want to make sure that you are listening to us, download us, listen to us on airplanes. We want to be airlines' #1 podcast, specifically with Delta. Make sure that your aisle mates, your seat mates, all are following Waterboy Pod. We post up new episodes every Tuesday, Thursday. Make sure to check us out.
And let the flight attendants know to play it on the speakers. Put it on the movies. Put it on the little TV screen.
Put them on the
Get
TVs.
the pod on there, guys. Come on, Delta. Hit up my agent. You guys know how to find me.
With that, Waterboys out.